It is the Matt Mosley show. And it's Overreaction Monday. We are so appreciative to Central National Bank, to Ascension Providence. Scotty Swingler and I spent our time. Jackson Posey joined us, and we had a big time over at the Brazos Landing the other day, another proud sponsor of ours. In fact, we'll be doing a live show over there on Thursday before this K-State game coming up. And Scotty, while you were able to, watch the game, have conversations, a very engaging young man that you are, at some point I got dialed in so hardcore to that game, and there was a lot of disappointing things. There were some encouraging things. I thought one of the most encouraging things of the day was that combo thing you had with the alligator, the the catfish, and some shrimp.
Yeah, I
And
had coconut shrimp, catfish, and
yeah,
gator.
and
Yep.
the gator bites, and then that hush puppy. In fact, at one point I was asking you, uh, Scotty, how those hush puppies were, and the truth is, you had a lot of food on that platter, and so there may have been a moment, even when I was asking you that I had already sampled the hush puppy. One of your hush puppies went missing. Let's put it that way. And then, man, I had something incredible. I had all the shrimp po' boy. We had some of those corn, almost like a ribs. They call them ribs, corn bite ribs. I mean, it was like I was at the state fair, but it was a higher quality food than the state fair. And a lot of it was fried. And I'm trying to avoid that, but I couldn't avoid it the other day. Also, thank you to Cherry Johnson, Sigmund James. All right. Now, again, we're without our usual 3D or 4K look. We're having to do a little workaround today, but because of some tech stuff. But that's okay. We're going to have a great show. We're going to have fun with it. And if you're wondering, why does Mosley have sunglasses on? Well, I normally do. It's not, but today, I mean, this was a 4 a.m. Went to bed at about 4. Running on fumes a little bit. Had a 6-hour round trip yesterday to College Station to take my mom down there to see my daughter. I had a quick hug with my daughter, and then I raced back to town. And then it was time to dig in on the Cowboys, and we'll let you see some of our Cowboys things. I thought, Scotty, that I mean, maybe one of the most exciting ties I've ever been involved in. I hated the first tie I can recall. I think I had some ties that I was involved with in youth soccer as a youngster. I was in high school when Baylor and A&M. I don't think Scotty had joined this world yet. He may have just been coming into the. No, I don't think he had joined us yet. Actually, now that I think about it. But this was Scotty. What year were you born?
So I was born in 1992, Matt.
Yeah, you had not joined us. And this was 1990, and I'm at Kyle Field, and the Bears have a chance to go down and beat the Aggies, and Grant Taft played for the tie. He thought it would help in the conference race somehow, thought that was the way to go, and he literally shut it down at midfield. And the Bears and the Ags tied 20-20. And the late, great J.J. Joe, as a redshirt freshman, he was not happy, but he was doing what he was told. And he was totally capable of leading that team down there to win that game. And the Bears opted for the tie. And the Bear fans were so upset that one particular former, I don't know who he was, now that I think about it, he jumped out of the stands and he tried to fight Grant Taft as Taft made his way off the field. I don't know how he was allowed to get down there. I guess he went over the railing. But that was really, when I think of a tie, I go back to that one. So, Scotty, I mean, it does feel anticlimactic. It was very exciting. Like it was an incredible game to watch. It was Sunday Night Football. So I found myself last night on the Doomsday podcast that I do with Ed Werder and that Rogue Media. It's under our extensive profile of podcast, and we got Please Bear With Me. You never know. Scotty and Ganaway do a great job there. We got tons of properties on that thing, but one is Doomsday. And that's why we found ourselves taping at 1 this morning after the game, after we'd heard from Shoddy, after we'd heard from Dak, and after I had spent 20 minutes with Jerry Jones. Now, Scotty, let's do, if we have this queued up, let's do the money quote from Jerry Jones, because this is, and I can't remember, Scotty, I'm sorry, I've sent you about 28 things this morning, but this is the one that I thought that we had all kinds of people, turning around content last night. Thank you, the Z-Man. Zach Burke was up with me from Rogue. He was up late at night. He's the one who comes up with all the links. He gives us the ability to post this stuff at like 2 or 3 in the morning, which is when we put this up, probably about 2:30 in the morning. That's because of the Z-Man. And Zach turned it around, and then he'll turn around this evening and be ready to do another podcast, the Boneyard Podcast, which is a very popular high school podcast that we do. But, Scotty, let's show our folks. I thought this was interesting because this is what Jerry had to say about, it's almost like he thought this was case closed. But this was the moment he talked about, hey, this is why we pay Dak $60 million. And this is why we didn't pay Micah. Scotty, let's play that clip right now, and we'll react to it.
Very simple. Right. Dak was indispensable in my mind. Right. And so, yes. And Micah wasn't.
That's what you love about him. Is he'll just kind of hem-haw around about a bunch of stuff and say a bunch, where's he going with this? And then in that moment, and everybody had kind of moved on, he gave the money quote. He gave us the goods. And Scotty, if you want to go back to that, did you see the young man? Did you see the young man with that flowing hair?
Very
Scotty,
simple.
that's why you've got good hair.
Dak
You
was
hide it behind a ball cap. You got to let that freak fly.
Yeah.
Who is that man behind Jerry looming? That was the representative, your man on the scene, the Rogue Media Network's own Mosley, right there behind Jerry. And we had some interesting back and forth. The only regret I have from last night, and there was one thing, many regrets. No, but Scotty, there's one thing that I wish I had zeroed in on. I made a joke with Jerry at some point, and we may play a little bit of this as the day unfolds, but I made a joke about, couldn't your clock keeper have helped you a little bit? Scotty, that game ended in overtime with Green Bay just like goofing around, not getting up the line of scrimmage. I thought the Cowboys only did that like during the playoffs against San Francisco. They're goofing around. They finally throw it in the end zone, and they end up, to tie the game, they end up with 1 second left. Jeez. Some people thought the Cowboys, by the way, on 4th and goal should have gone for it and actually, tried to put a touchdown on the board at the end of overtime, when they had the ball in overtime. I do not know what Green Bay was doing. So I asked Jerry about that very thing. Like, couldn't you get a little help with your clock man up there, or clock woman? And Jerry kind of smiled, and he's like, well, he started to say that's a relative. And then somebody that acted like they knew, maybe it was Mike Silver, go, well, that's like one of your ex-relatives. Okay, now it's all coming to me. I think that guy was doing a good, quick joke, like he's no longer a relative because he didn't get the clock right. Okay, maybe. Because in that moment, I'm like, this is funny. So Jerry was trying to do a joke. Then he thought better of it. Now he does a joke later, and we may play it later in the program. I mean, Scotty, I sent it to you. Somebody, it wasn't me, said, the whole thing about a tie. Jerry, they say a tie is like kissing your sister. Scotty, you've heard it forever. Well, Jerry couldn't help himself.
I've never kissed my sister, so how's it taste?
I wouldn't know you. Hey.
Oh, gosh. Scotty, he crossed the line. Now let's do it. Scotty is so good at this. It is really remarkable because I probably sent him that clip like literally 2 minutes ago, and he turns it around. It's a phenomenal deal. I don't know. The problem is with this level of production and assistance and co-hostership, hostmanship. I'm just making up words. It makes me want to just ask him to do a million different things. But so it's not good that he turns things around this quickly for him. But man, I love it. All right, let's do it one more time, Scotty, and then look at my reaction to Jerry's weird kissing your sister joke, which honestly, you have to say, Scotty, for as crazy and delusional as he is, he's pretty quick. I mean, he's still quick-witted at 83 or 84, whatever he is. I mean, he's quicker than just about anybody. Let's play that again and then watch the Mosley reaction.
Well, I've never kissed my sister, so how's it taste?
I wouldn't know you. Hey.
Scotty, it's weird that he would say it, but like, doesn't it display like how quick he is? Like, you have to hand it to him. You're not getting that from really any other NFL owner. Is there anybody out there? Is Mark Davis giving you that? No. Is the guy, is the new Josh Harris, the Commanders, is Jeff Lurie giving you that? Is Robert Kraft giving you that? I mean, Robert may show up at a massage parlor, but he's not giving you, he's not that quick. He's not giving you jokes like that. Scotty, I mean, are you at least somewhat impressed on Jerry's ability to, in the moment, execute jokes like that, especially after an emotional game? I think we have to hand it to him, don't we?
Jerry Jones has always been charismatic, Mosley. He's always been quick and charismatic. I will hand him that. I disagree with his comment about Dak and Micah, but that's probably not a surprise to many people.
Yeah, but the kissing your sister thing, he was, and boy, I mean, speaking of charismatic, there was some talk of charismatic churches and some things going on. We had a longtime preacher man at our table the other day, and I thought that was good. I mean, I was surrounded by people in the ministry. One longtime pastor, Scotty's been in the ministry. Posey's headed to seminary. I forget where he's thinking about going, but I mean, Scotty, if you wondered why I kind of had to, and Scotty came and joined me at some point in the fourth quarter, and we zeroed in on the game, but there was a lot of religious talk that was happening at that table. And I finally had to exit a little bit. I had to go focus on the game because Scotty's better than I am. One thing I can't do, I can't talk about other stuff during a game. And my wife will tell you, it frustrates me to no end. Like when I'm watching games with people, and I've got this one guy I'm thinking about who's a Baylor guy and a singer-songwriter, and we'll be watching a Monday Night Football game, and he gets off into all this other stuff. And I need the focus to be on what's happening on the screen, the game, okay? And part of this is my own fault, because I am a distractible player, as Parcells would say. I'm very distractible, and so it's not. But Scotty, I think you will confirm we had a lot of religious people at that table, right? There were a lot of people that had either been in ministry for years or people going into ministry. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
It was quite the group.
I thought it was a good group, and that one preacher who's called Preacher. I mean, I don't think we ever got a real name, right? They just called.
Nope, I never got his name. Just Preacher.
He's a good preacher because you know what he'll do is he'll eat. I don't think he ate anything. I think he ate at home, but he just sat there and either he had like sweet iced tea the entire ball game. Certainly would never even think about an alcoholic beverage. And the man for 36 years was the pastor out at was that Lake Air Baptist? Like a
Parkview.
what's that?
He said Parkview.
Oh man, Parkview Baptist out there. How many Baptist churches do we have in Waco proper? Let's just not even think about all of Central Texas and Temple and Belton and all that. In Waco proper, if you had to guess, how many Baptist churches?
I'll Google it after I guess. I'm going to guess 115.
Most Baptist churches per capita anywhere in the country. That's what we used to say, and I think that probably is still the case. Although some will drop the Baptist name, there is a chance that Harris Creek used to be Baptist, and they may have dropped the name. That's now a non-denominational church. I feel like in the past, when I used to hear that name, they would say Baptist. And then there was that Meadow Creek or Meadowbrook or whatever. That's Baptist. There's a lot of Baptist churches. And by the way, shout out to that pastor at Harris Creek. He's got some health stuff going on. He's in a hospital all this week. And I happen to see all that on Facebook. John Elmore's a good buddy of mine on that staff. And this guy's known as JP. In fact, I finally learned what his actual name is by looking on Facebook. And good pastor at church has really done well out there. And he's having to got some really tough health issues that he's fighting right now. So our prayers go out to him. Okay, Scotty, let's see. We got off a little bit of a late start. Okay.
There are 136 Baptist churches in Waco. I wasn't terribly far off.
You were above that. Did you say 100?
I said 115. So I was about 20 off.
Yeah, you did good. You did well, man.
Thanks, Mosley.
I'm proud of you as always. What are you going with today on that pullover, by the way? Is that one of those new silhouetted Baylor type?
No, I got this at the spring. I can't even see which side of my shirt I'm holding. The spring sale. You know, at the spring game, they sell all the old merch. This is an official team worn Sugar Bowl pullover from 2021.
The one I never got was when Joey and them in like 2019, that Sugar Bowl, Joey was still on that staff. Yeah. The coaches had that gray sweatshirt with a blocked Baylor lettering. And for some reason, I really loved that. And I kind of thought when Joey had to get rid of all his Baylor stuff, that might go to me, or I might get a hold of one of those. And still to this day, I've not secured one of those. So if you're out there and you're in the Baylor coaching community, anyway, we're glad to have everybody with us today. It's the Overreaction Monday. It's a lot going on. So here's what we're going to do. Let me walk you through the rest of the day. 1:35, we'll do Campus Confidential. Scotty's got a lot of stuff. Had a lot of games. I know Scotty wants to hear my take on, because while we were watching the Baylor game, and finally when Baylor started to pull away, the Aggie game got good. Like that's an offense failing its defense, by the way. That's an offense. That Auburn offense is horrible, which makes you feel even worse about what they did to Baylor. I mean, they loaded up, ran all over Baylor, and they can't get out of their own way right now. And they're 0-2 in the SEC, and they lost one in College Station. And of course, Scotty and everybody at that bar where we were watching it, or that beautiful restaurant, the Brazos Landing, was giving me a hard time because I was kind of, invested in watching that game. And of course, right now, because my daughter goes to A&M, people are thinking I'm a little too into the A&M thing. I was very locked into that Baylor game throughout the game, and that's where my focus is. Okay, we'll do Baylor. We'll do a lot of Baylor talk and look at that game and some things that I thought coming out of that. We'll do that at when we get in the 2 o'clock hour, starting at about 2:15. We'll get far into that. Right now, a little more Cowboys, though. They had a great game plan for Micah. They really did. I mean, Brian Baldinger and others are trying to make it out like, Micah had some kind of great game. He didn't. He didn't. I mean, I isolated and watched him constantly. I thought he was very frustrated. I thought it was magnanimous. I thought it was good of him to go to the quarterback of Green. Now maybe it was showmanship or something, but he did apologize on behalf of the defense for not doing more to help out Green Bay. I didn't think he was that great in that game. He had a couple of quarterback hits, which, you know, sometimes the ball will be delivered and then he hits him a full second. I mean, it's like the quarterback hit stats sometimes are nothing, like just breathing on the quarterback. Oh, he got pressure. Oh, he got a quarterback pressure. He got one sack and it was a fake sack. It was in overtime. It was on 2nd and goal, and Dak's trying to run that ball in on a scramble, and Micah did track him down from the other side of the field. It was a good play, but that's not a sack. It's not a true sack. He didn't catch him back into, but somehow stats wise, it goes down as a sack. The really only sack of the night that I remember was the Cowboys had a huge play. James Houston goes back there, number 53 for the Cowboys, and gets a strip sack. And the Cowboys go down there and take the lead at the half, 16-13. So, I mean, Scotty, the truth is, Scotty's a longtime Cowboys fan, and I used to be. Of course, you cover the team, it changes your relationship with the team. But I mean, on one hand, it's a miracle that the Cowboys had a chance to win the game, that the Cowboys were able to tie the game. Like, in some ways, I think Cowboys fans should be highly encouraged that they somehow ended up in a 40-40 tie against the big bad Green Bay Packers. So part of me thinks, how can you not take just at least a little bit of pride in that? But also, the defense continues to just be a major, major problem. And I mean, it's, let me just look into the camera, wherever this camera is, and let me put my real glasses on. Let me get serious about something for just a moment here at the 22:30 mark of our show today. Scotty, what Matt Eberflus is putting out there on a weekly basis, not only is it not sustainable, but it's the worst defense in the NFL right now. And it, you know, we're past the poor communication. We're not communicating the back end of the defense. Like it's like early in the game, Green Bay ran a go route and both its receivers ran to the exact same spot. They ran vertical routes and they went to the same spot. And so they had to, almost like an outfielder, they had to, at the last minute, decide who was going to catch the ball. That's how bad it is. Jordan Love threw a deep ball and he had two receivers in the exact same spot. And they just had to figure it out which one of them was going to go up and make the catch. They were both there. The only chance the Cowboys had of breaking up that pass was for them to break up their own pass. And Rex Ryan said it in the pregame, the ESPN pregame. I'm listening to that on the way to the stadium, on the way back from College Station, on a 6-hour round trip I made to College Station. I'm on the way back, and Rex Ryan basically is calling them. His new thing is to call them, instead of the doomsday defense, he calls them the dumbsday defense. And it's not that funny, but whatever. He's going with that. But his whole point, and he showed it, was that they don't even know how to like cover a screen. They don't understand the logistics. They have no, from a schematic standpoint, like literally when you screen the Cowboys defense, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to like get anybody out there. And so it'll be 3rd and 20 like it was last night. And Scotty, they threw a middle screen just to get a few yards so they could punt. It went for 18 yards because they don't know how to even defend it. Like a middle screen or a typical screen toward the boundary. Like all these things the Cowboys are completely flabbergasted by these things. Now, even when they make a great play, like Trayvon Diggs had an interception along the sideline, big play, could have been a huge play in that game. early on in the game. It's amazing they overcame this. 12 men on the field. Again, this guy came in with Rob Ryan to the Cowboys. He ended up becoming a pretty good defense coordinator in the league. I don't know how. I mean, it's bad. I mean, we know he lost a great pass rusher in Micah, but I mean, the coverage, Love and Prescott both put up huge days. Both teams have really good. Jacobs is an excellent running back for the Packers. I mean, he puts one little move around the goal line down there, and Trayvon Diggs just kind of basically falls down. And Diggs made a really good play in overtime, came up in run support, made a big hit. But this team is undisciplined. There's absolutely no discipline when it comes to what they're doing. I mean, Scotty, Maris Leofau, big moment in the game. They could have had the Packers in 3rd and long. I'm sure the Packers would have just thrown a screen and gotten it, but they could have had them in a tough spot. And Leofau on an incomplete pass, ball hits the ground, and Leofau comes up and just annihilates the running back, the backup running back for the Packers. Like there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's like early in the game, he made a great play. Matthew Golden, the old Texas wide receiver, it was a punt returner, and he makes a little spin move. And right after he gets a little spin done, Maris Leofau's waiting on him, and he crushes him. The team loved it. Team fed off of it. Team also fed off a PAT block and a 2-point return, and made it 13-2. And I thought, well, that's just kind of a funny little play. That won't make any difference. It kind of did. They kind of fed off that, and they got that game to 16-13. So, Scotty, I want to ask you this, and then I'll give you my answer. Was that game worse? Was that result worse for the Packers or worse for the Cowboys?
Oh, for the Packers. The Packers. You said it earlier. The Packers kind of a trendy favorite to maybe make a Super Bowl run this year, especially after acquiring Micah. I, on Zach Owens' show here on Rogue Media, picked Packers to make the Super Bowl as my official pick. I thought they had all the pieces. Jordan Love played poorly like that. And, for the Packers, I think you have to be disappointed that you scored 40 and had a tie. Like, I think this is way more of an indictment on the Packers and a result that's good for the Cowboys, because I'm still not convinced the Cowboys are going to win that many games this season. So I think this could be a momentum builder for Dallas, and it's time for some questions, I think, in Green Bay.
Dak had led his team with the help of the defense in some of those games, but he had led his team, Scotty, to 22 times to 40 or more points. Scotty, their record in those 22 games, 22-0.
Wow.
22-0. 22-0-1 now.
Yeah.
In those games. Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
You put up 40, you throw for 319, you throw for 3 touchdowns, you run for another. I mean, you got it. I mean, again, he played brilliantly. Now, Scotty, that was some nonsense down there in the overtime. I mean, you got to score. Tolbert makes a great play. Dak makes a great throw. It was highly improbable they were going to complete that. Highly improbable. I saw some of the numbers on that. It was like 7% chance of completing that throw. Where Tolbert was at the time, and they did it. Tolbert keeps his feet in. Big play. They get down there. They run on first. Dak scrambles on second. Third down, huge. It's a gotta have it. You need a touchdown. You're going to lose that game probably if you don't get it. Dak's back there. He's got time. Ends up throwing it out of the end zone. Flournoy was back there. Nothing wrong with Flournoy. Flournoy played well in that game. But, what's the play? what's the play? Did he go through his progression and he just decides, I think I'll just throw a fade and I'll just throw it where only my man can get it. And he threw it about 10 feet over his head. And you got Trot, the greatest kicker in the history of the game, out there to kick a 22-yard field goal. And I thought they had for sure lost that game. I thought that game was over. And then it took the Packers. The Packers had to try almost to tie that game or almost lose that game. I mean, they're boom, boom. They're down there. They call the timeout. They bang that timeout at 28 with 28 seconds. They're fine on time. They're down there around like the 15-yard line. They're in the red zone. They've moved it down there quickly. And then, like, they run a play. Cowboys make a nice play, defensive play, and then they just kind of goof around and don't get up to the line of scrimmage and throw it in the end zone with one. I mean, like, we're so close to today being talking about, like, LaFleur and Love. I mean, think about how we killed Dak and Mike McCarthy for the way that one of those games ended against San Francisco, the way they managed the clock at the end of that playoff game. That was huge. But the Cowboys, they never beat Green Bay. Since Green Bay won the Super Bowl in AT&T Stadium, they've never beaten Green Bay in AT&T Stadium. They have tied them now. A 40-40 tie. All right, Scotty, we're a little loose today. We're fine. We can go as long as we want on campus because we got a lot to react to. We had some upsets over the weekend. We had some really good games. We had one of the fraudulent coaches in college football. He had an incredible opportunity for a top 5 win or top 10 win. Had an incredible opportunity, and he let it get away from him. We'll react to all of that in Campus Confidential next.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform
at your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Unlock a world of convenience with Mosley Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your tastes. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. Unlock your full potential with On It, your go-to for premium supplements, fitness gear, and wellness essentials. Whether you're training hard, recovering faster, or just looking to feel your best, On It has the tools you need to perform at your peak. Visit Onnit, that's ONNIT.com, and elevate your mind, body, and spirit today. At Rolls Rolo, we don't just sell wallpaper, we create cohesive, cozy spaces. Our deep understanding of design means every pattern, color, and texture is carefully chosen to complement your home. Plus, we use advanced technology and water-based inks for vibrant, eco-friendly prints, ensuring a healthier environment. Visit rollsrolla.com to transform your space today. That's ROLLSROLLA.com today.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
At Tusain's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
Ready to bring your vision to life? At Small Rig, every idea, design, and product is inspired by you, the creator. With our industry-first under co-design mode and the Dream Rig free customization project, we unite with global creators to turn big dreams into reality. Whether it's a cage rig or mount, Small Rig's versatile gear is built to elevate your craft. Small Rig, where your creativity meets our innovation. Go to smallrig.com.
Calling all Marvel fans, get Marvel Unlimited and unlock over 30,000 comics featuring your favorite heroes and iconic stories, all available to read anytime, anywhere. Whether you're into classic tales or the latest adventures, there's something for everyone. Don't miss out. Head to marvel.com/unlimited today and start your Marvel journey now. At Angel Bliss, we believe every parent's journey is a beautiful adventure. Our mission is to make it joyful and stress-free with thoughtful, safe, and innovative products. Born from a love for family, we promise peace of mind for parents and comfort for babies. From playtime to bedtime, every Angel Bliss product is designed with care, reliability, and a style to nurture the special bond between parent and child. Angel Bliss, creating happy memories, one baby at a time. Visit us at angelbliss.us. Angel Bliss.
It is Mosley, the Mosley Show, and always good, Scotty, to, during the break to hear from the Pete Souza Show, see what Pete's up to, see some of his thoughts, and the Pete Show every day except Wednesdays. I think his Wednesday show is generally a little bit later in the day, but a lot of days he starts at 10. Every day except Wednesday, he starts at 10 a.m. And of course, the Mosley Show starts at 1. Scotty co-hosts and produces and is the minister of culture on both those shows, and it's tough. And then Scotty has his own podcast, and if you don't watch it, man, it's hard to. So what we asked Scotty to do is to just be he's got a lot on his plate, but we're trying to. We've had other people get involved with the show. The Z-Man, who I love working with too, does some stuff for us in post-production. And then the young Brazos Tankersley. I mean, a man's grown up in Waco in the 254 if his name is Brazos. What do people say when they say it wrong? They say Brazos, don't they? Brazos. This is Brazos Tankersley. But what was I feel like in Game of Thrones, there was a Bravos. I think we had a Bravos. I think people see it and think it should be Brazos. I think that's the most common.
Well, that's
you will occasionally get historians who try to tell you that it's technically supposed to be the other way, right?
Well, because it is named after the Spanish word for arms, right? Which is Brazos, right?
Oh,
Isn't that how you say arms?
Okay, in Texas, though, we changed it to the
Brazos. Yeah, that's right.
The Brazos River. Yeah.
Have you
ever been in the Brazos?
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding? Of course I have.
I don't know that I have.
Matt Mosley, I have been known to leap from the Waco suspension bridge into the Brazos.
Yeah, I'm not saying that didn't seem kind of fun, and maybe that was appealing to.
Twas quite fun,
but yeah, I just never. I feel like I would have been the one who didn't come up or something. I could see why somebody would want to do that. It was happening. It was still happening back in the day. I do recall there was a crackdown. And I think technically if you do it, you would get arrested and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you're not it's against the law. I would think, to jump off the suspension bridge.
Let me repeat what I said in case any law enforcement are watching. I have been alleged to have jumped from the bridge. I will make no comment as to whether or not that really happened. You may assume
is okay. I think you're going to survive this. Scotty, let's just delve into an area of the show we call Campus Confidential. And it's some quick hitting information, several stories, and perhaps outcomes of games over the weekend. But it's wherever Scotty wants to take us. And Scotty's been known to show us some videos. There's a lot. We've had firings. Scotty, I think we've broken all records for like quickest firings this year.
Wow.
This is not a good year to lose games early if you're a college football coach. In fact, Hugh Freeze better get it going, man. Wow. So what do you have for us in today's episode of Campus Confidential?
Well, let me start right here at home. My friend Lizzie sent me a link. It's still not even posted on Twitter, so this is breaking news. But Barstool Sikkim is reporting on Instagram that Baylor is finally restricting or leveling some kind of consequence on people who are not using their tickets. And I'm thankful for this. I know my folks have very nice season tickets in the 200s at McLean, and they've been frustrated by how many visiting fans have been sitting around them on the 50-yard line in some premium seats, Bear Foundation seats, that Baylor has increasingly explicitly said don't sell these to opposing fans. I know in the basketball, the Foster Pavilion, you can't sell the lower bowl seats to anyone but Bear Foundation Baylor people. I'm wondering if football is about to take a step in that direction, but we'll have to follow the story as it develops, Matt Mosley.
Yeah, that's a good one, Scotty, and I'm glad you brought it up because I've had a problem with this for years, and there were other fan bases that triggered me more than others, and one of them was UT fans, and it killed me to be in kind of a section like you're talking about, right around the 50, up above. The one we were in was the first row of the second level above the Baylor line in 45 or 50, right around there. And you just look around and there were too many UT fans. And it's like, I don't love it when people bring people from other teams to the game with them. I don't do it. And I think, in fact, I used to bother, I know my dad's teammates and everybody in that Letterman's Lounge or Letter Winners Lounge when all the opposing colors and people would come in, to the fact A&M, and we were in there recently because I got a buddy who played at A&M in their Letter Winners. They still call it the Letterman's Lounge there. They have a rule against it. You can't be in there. And the reason was, I guess a bunch of LSU people came in there and it got out of hand. I know that's shocking to you, Scotty, and they do have an open bar situation in that one. They don't have that at Baylor, obviously. And so things got out of hand. So you can't wear opposing teams' apparel or colors in the Aggie. And I would have no problem if Baylor said that. Now, you can't keep them completely out of the stadium, but what you're saying, Scotty, if there's a way to police that and stop letting people give their season tickets, either sell them or give them to people from the opposing teams, then I think there's I think there should be a crackdown. And the truth is, we're going to see it this weekend. The K-State people, there's a pretty decent sized group in Dallas, and I'm sure Houston and maybe even Austin to a certain extent, San Antonio, they're going to be there, and they show up whether Kansas State's winning or losing. That's a really good fan base, and that's if there's a way to look into this. And I typically would not want to quote Barstool on anything, but if your friend, if you feel good about it, Scotty, and we've got good information, then I like this. This would be a great development for Baylor if they address this.
Absolutely. I agree with you completely. Yeah, you mentioned coaches getting fired. This weekend it was Oklahoma State firing their DC after Baylor came up there, but obviously the big one, Sam Pittman fired at Arkansas. Bobby Petrino has already stepped in as interim head coach, which is hilarious, by the way. And he went ahead today and fired their defensive coordinator, defensive line coach, and defensive assistant coach. So Bobby Petrino already cleaning the cabinet out a little bit there at Arkansas. So as you pointed out, I mean, what open jobs do we have now? UCLA, Virginia Tech. By the way, Philip Montgomery, the interim at Virginia Tech, which I didn't know when it happened, but that's interesting for Baylor fans. Oklahoma State, Arkansas, those are both, I would think, pretty desirable Power 4 jobs in a lot of ways. So there is going to be quite the coaching carousel this offseason.
Yeah, and the Arkansas one, and I was mad at myself because I was going to ask Jerry late last night. And I think after the whole kissing the sister thing, I was thrown off. But if Jerry was now going to have to run a coach search with Sam Pittman being fired yesterday, Jerry is a famous Arkansas alum. I think he hurt his credibility, like for the 28,000th time, by supporting, I think Chad Morris might have been one of his guys. Here's where, Scotty, here's where Jerry could fire up the base. What if we started to, I think you and I both would agree that Deion's time at Colorado may have kind of run its course. Not that he's going to get fired, but he was there for his son or his sons. He was there for Travis Hunter. They won a Heisman, had a pretty good year last year. They're really down this year. They're saying horrible things to Mormon. I mean, I hated that crowd saying that stuff. And thought to our Mormon brethren and friends in the LDS church for, was that Michigan? Where did
yes.
Two different, there was a fire, there were shootings, horrific stuff going on there, and the LDS community's hurting in a big way. We had some heroes in that church, man. The folks that were shielding those kids in that church. So I thought, and I don't want to go too far down that path because Colorado, yes, it was very unfortunate what they were saying in the stadium that night, and I'm not going to say what they were saying. It was just awful and dumb and idiotic. Okay, but I mean, I'm not saying one thing led to another. This thing that happened the next day on Sunday was a separate incident, but it's all bad, and it just made me think of it. But could Jerry? The reason I brought up all that stuff about Deion, Jerry's the one guy. He and Deion are extremely close. Could he get Deion interested in that job? And you go, well, is that a better job than Colorado? Well, you do have money. It's the Walmart family, the Walton family, the Tyson Chicken, the Lindsays. There's plenty of money. They brought in John Calipari to coach basketball. Like, if they could pay Deion, and I do think that would get that fan base very excited because Deion is so far superior. Both, I mean, I don't know about X's and O's, but from a charisma standpoint, he just blows poor Sam Pittman away. So there's one thing to ponder. I really don't see that happening. And so, but it'll be interesting. I mean, John Gruden wants to get back into coaching, wants to be a head coach. That would be kind of a fun name at an SEC school. But I mean, I think Arkansas should, even if they don't bring in Deion, Scotty, they should learn from Deion, right? A program that's been down for a pretty good while, like Arkansas, that has a storied past, that's kind of like Colorado. The Colorado storied past, it was brief. It was not, but it was great. And they won a national title circa 1990 under Coach McCartney, Bill McCartney. And so Arkansas has a way more storied past than Colorado ever did. And I think it'd be a fun job for somebody. I mean, again, it's tough because it's SEC, but it's doable. It's doable if you get the right person in there. They just keep hiring Pittman and Morris and Bielema and just a series of people who just aren't great fits. But like, I mean, even in basketball, you've seen when you have the right fit, Eddie Sutton back in the day, Nolan Richardson, Musselman to a certain extent, now Calipari. I mean, that's a great program. I mean, it can be, right? Football-wise, it's a sleeping giant. I mean, you have the entire state behind you. Why is Arkansas that inferior of a job to LSU? It's only because they've been bad for so long. It's not because somebody couldn't turn it into something interesting and fun. So, Scotty, any thought? Do you think Deion would listen?
So that was my next note about this story was ESPN and you know, how much do these guys that authored this, and there were 3 authors on this story, how much are they actually clued in? I'm not sure, but they put out their top 5 candidates for this job. At the top is SMU head coach Rhett Lashley. That makes sense to me, right? Although that's kind of where they went with Chad Morris, and that didn't work out. Tulane coach John Summerall. He's a popular name in all these. Bobby Petrino. That's interesting. But then Deion Sanders is listed in this article as a legitimate candidate or thought for this job. You know, the part you didn't say, Matt, but I'll say it. I believe the university is above this. I really do. The state of Arkansas is not known for their kindness to all people. I'll just put it that way. I'd be interested to see how Deion feels about that, coaching there culturally versus Colorado. That would be interesting to me if that's part of this conversation. I think Gruden would be fascinating there. I think that would be a really, really interesting fit. There was someone else. Oh, I'll tell you who else, Matt, might be a wild card in this that nobody wants to admit, but you know it's true. Where did Arkansas's best offense of the last 20 years come from?
The best offense of the last 20 years was,
but let's say since like the Darren
Petrino was pretty good there, but are you thinking about Kendall Briles?
I am. Yeah. Do they not ring him and just have an interview? That would
the ultimate, and it's one of the few states and schools they won't do it, but you're along the right lines. The ultimate hire would be Art. Now,
well, that won't happen. That won't happen. But
I know it won't happen. But I'm just saying that would be and I promise you, like 80 to 90% of the fan base would be just fine. Would be just fine with that. Okay. You're right. It won't happen. And they couldn't even hire him. I mean, I don't know. There's really no school that's been able to hire him. There was one man that was going to hire him, and I think I've brought this up on this show before. And he was about to try to do it, and sadly, I don't know how people would take this, but this coach died, and that was Mike Leach. And Mike Leach was in the process of trying to bring in Art Briles to the staff. But yeah, I think Art Briles' time sadly has passed as a possible head coach. But that's interesting because I brought up Deion immediately. Now, to your other point, I don't want to get too much into the whole race factor or anything like that. I mean, okay. Deion spent his formative years. He's from Florida. Yeah, I know that's different from Arkansas, but Nolan Richardson ran that state and ran that program. And so that fan base has had a black head coach have like huge success. And I think again, not that there aren't places in every state. Lord knows Colorado has issues with some of the things their people say, but I think Arkansas would be fine with everything. But I appreciate the point. I know what you're saying, but I just think once you've had a polarizing coach that not only was black but also very willing to speak his mind on a lot of different issues, Arkansas would be fine. And the question you're asking, though, which is a fine question, is would Dion be open to that? And I think the answer is yes, if Dion thought he had the resources to win there. And I mean, that would be exciting. That would be because, like, that would be stepping into, like, here's Colorado, okay, like a program with some past. They did win a national title, but like Arkansas's history is up here compared to Colorado, and it's in the SEC, and it's more visible, and it's got all the TV deals and more eyes and everything. Like, Dion made Colorado interesting. Imagine taking a school and a program like Arkansas. Oof. But yeah, I'm not saying you're not wrong to ask that. I think and it might cross Dion's mind, but it's like Dion's kind of like yeah, he's not. I don't think that's. I think he's fine. I don't think that would be a big consideration for him. Okay, what else do you have, sir? Campus Confidential.
You teased it. It's the biggest story, I think, of the weekend. Not necessarily that Penn State lost to Oregon in double overtime. That was a terrific football game. Two really good teams. But the narrative now about James Franklin, and it's been real. And the longer it goes, the more real it is. And he just straight up owned it in the post-game presser Saturday. Losing to Oregon dropped Penn State to 4-21 against top 10 opponents under Franklin. 1-18 when those games are against Big Ten teams. Franklin, after the game, saying, I get that narrative, and really it's not a narrative. It's factual. It's the facts. I totally get it. I take ownership. I take responsibility. Matt, this is kind of a much larger version of what we talked about last week with Dave Aranda being 4-12 in his last 16 Power 4 games at home. But this is an even bigger deal, bigger job, Penn State. Yeah. And again, we're not talking Power 4 team. We're talking top 10 teams. So, but 4-21 at a school that has national title aspirations just about every year is not going to cut it. I think we might have talked about this on the game day show. I don't remember, but I don't know who else they could get to come in there and coach, but I'm wondering how long that leash is for, because I think James Franklin's a great coach. But I'm wondering how long that leash is for him if he keeps dropping all of these huge primetime top 10 games.
I mean, isn't it interesting, Scotty, that, like, I get it, and I've been leading the parade on. I thought there was always some fraudulence to him. He's done a fine job there. The basketball equivalent of this is Matt Painter at Purdue over the years, of just like incredible teams and just not able to win the big one. He's gotten past a little bit of that recently with the Final Four trip. And did they play in the national title game in one of these games? I mean, he's certainly helped in that regard. But Franklin, you ask an interesting question, and if he was doing this at Georgia or Alabama or even Clemson, because Clemson obviously is souring a little bit on Dabo now, but if he were doing this somewhere else, but I think Penn State has, and they're crazy, great fan base, hugely supportive, but I think once you see the low of all lows and the scandal and the mess that happened there, and you kind of watch a guy kind of change the narrative. Now, this isn't a great narrative that he keeps losing to top 10 teams, but I still think he has plenty of wiggle room. I really do. And so I don't love the guy. But it leads me to one other thing, Scotty, and we'll get back to your whatever you want to bring up, but and you may have going to bring this up, but there's also a narrative forming along these lines. It's different because this guy has won national titles and he's incredible. Kirby Smart is arguably I don't know who's better than him. Who's the best current football coach now that Saban's retired? Who's the best? I think you'd say Kirby, but Kirby can't beat Alabama. And this was the first time they'd been back to between the hedges in Georgia. That Alabama had gone there in like 10 years, but that's a weird one. I don't think you can take away how great Kirby is, but Scotty, look at his record against Alabama. It's unbelievable. It's like, I think he's lost 10 of the last 11 or something crazy like that.
Yeah, and I was shocked they lost. You asked me last week point blank if I thought Alabama was still in the national title picture, and I said no, and I believe in the same breath said, but Georgia's got to be the favorite in the SEC. Shocked me that they couldn't beat Alabama. Shocked me. So clearly I know nothing about SEC football. I do know Vanderbilt's playing in Tuscaloosa this Saturday, and I will be rooting for the Fighting Diego Pavias. That's exciting to me. Hey, here's what I was going to say about that Penn State job, though. And I want you to correct me if I'm overinflating this because he's my guy, okay? In my opinion, if they moved on from James Franklin, a top 3 candidate for that job, I'm not saying necessarily the top candidate, but I think he'd be top 3, is Matt Rule. I think that's his dream job. He played there. Despite the scandal and the allegations, Matt Rule is the one coach in America who still talks about Joe Pa's influence on him as a coach, holds that man in very high regard. He wants to be Joe Pa as a coach. Matt Rule does. And Matt Rule has the same problem James Franklin does, in that Matt Rule's record against top 25 teams, let alone top 10 teams, has not been very good historically. Like, he'll get programs to elevate, and then they lose to top 10 teams too. So I don't know. I like James Franklin a lot. I don't know who else Penn State would go get.
Yeah,
who'd be an upgrade.
It would be seen by that fan base as an upgrade over James Franklin, and just given the fact that Nebraska can't beat anybody, they haven't won any big games since he's been there in terms of, like you're talking about, top 10 or top 20. So there's a lot of intangibles I love about him, and I still am friends with Matt, but I do not see that as an upgrade over James Franklin. I don't think that fan base would see it. I get all the ties.
But you think he would be? I think he would be an immediate name if they started a search. I'm not saying he would get the job, but I think he would immediately be a lot of people's first thought.
I guess that's amazing to me, because I don't think he's done enough at Nebraska to make him a candidate for that job. I agree with you that he loves the school, and there's a lot of things through that. But you just jogged my memory on something that you'll find interesting. He doesn't like Matt Rule is not a James Franklin fan. The guy he loves for what he did at Penn State is Bill O'Brien, of all things. Bill O'Brien's now at Boston College. And I just remember, now maybe that's changed, and maybe he and James Franklin have a decent relationship now. I don't know. But I tried to bring up how good a job James Franklin was doing at Penn State one time in an interview. And Matt, and it was on the record, Matt didn't say anything negative about Franklin, but he quickly pivoted and was like, Bill O'Brien's the guy who turned this thing around, and he went there when nobody really wanted that job. And his respect and love was for Bill O'Brien, not James Franklin at all. I'm not, and that's a little bit of an offshoot, Scotty. But you bringing Matt up in the context of that job just made me think about it. I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know. Penn State's an unbelievable job, and Rule would be an interesting name, but man, he needs a couple of big wins this year. I don't know who they play in the Big Ten the rest of the way, but oh my gosh, he needs a win over Penn State. He needs a win over Michigan or Ohio State. He just needs some kind of breakthrough. That would have been a nice win for him. They got beat 30-27 by Michigan. Who was that they got beat by last week or whatever?
Michigan.
Yeah. He needs a win. He just desperately needs a win like that. All right, Scotty, do you have any more? This is excellent. What else do you have? Anything?
I'm good to go. If you are, I was excited that Indiana won a close one over Iowa. Of course, I think I need to order some Indiana swag. I think I'm getting on the bandwagon. Excited for Vanderbilt traveling to Tuscaloosa. We're going to see how real they are. They're a top 20 team.
I'm glad I didn't text you and Pete, because after y'all just went crazy for BYU, and by the way, I'm only thinking great thoughts.
4-0. 4-0.
That game started out 14-0, and I came so close to zinging you guys. And then I'm like, you know what? Let's let this play out. And of course, BYU came back and won that game, and in a tough environment. And those fans were being idiots. But again, there's so much smoke when you're in that stadium. The marijuana, it has to be so overpowering. Those Colorado fans, not to dismiss what they did, but they're honestly just all fried. I mean, they're mostly just baked out. They're good fans, but if you play them in a late night game, they're just idiots. They're complete idiots. And my thoughts are with BYU and the LDS Church, and I just can't help but, man, we need to. This sounds like something you would say, Scotty, but we need to kind of love on them, and
that is something I would say. Yeah,
circle around them now.
Let's dream about the best ways to show our support. Hey, by the way, they 365 Sports posted a short of me throwing the BYU helmet on the table during the game day show and talking about how good they are and that they're underrated. And someone actually, you did not text me, but someone did reply to that tweet when it was 14-0 with a tweet that said, "This ain't working out for you, bud." And I didn't see it till the next day. So I just replied and said, and it was it was one of those faceless anonymous Twitter accounts. So I replied and said, putting my name on all my hot takes, whether I'm right or wrong, is why I get paid. And to which he replied and said, I got to give it to you. They did pull out the window. I was like, there you go.
Yeah. You did pull out the BYU helmet, but thinking of our friends, the LDS Church today. Okay, Scotty, let's spend our time now. I mean, Lord knows what time it is here. I mean, keeping me on clock is one of the hardest things in all of life. People have fought against it for years with limited success. Program directors have been fired over it. No, they just get fired because that's radio business. Now let's do some Baylor though. Our people are going to gather around. We're going to have a talk, the good, bad, and the ugly, about what happened out there in Stillwater. I mean, I think I know where this needs to go. And I think some things need to be addressed. And it starts with this head football coach. That is next.
Guys, there is a sleeping giant in this conference that nobody is talking about except Pete Souza. By the way, we talk about it almost every week on the Pete Souza show, so much so it drives me crazy, but I think Pete's right. When we're talking about Big 12 contenders, Iowa State comes to a lot of people's mind right now, Texas Tech, NIL. Y'all, The Cougars, not from South Texas, but from Utah, the BYU Cougars are undefeated, number 25 in the country. They will likely roll tonight in Boulder. I'd be shocked if they don't just steamroll the Buffaloes, to be honest with you. And they've got a freshman quarterback named Bear Bachmeier who wears the number 47, which is a crime against humanity. But that kid is good. And I know they've not played an outstanding opponent yet, but I got to tell you, why with that head coach and with the talent at quarterback that is clear, why are more of us not talking about this school as a threat to win the conference?
I'll tell you exactly why.
Matt. Tell him why.
Pete Souza is compromised on that team.
Are you ready to take control of your health? At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. Say goodbye to long waits and office visits. Check your health on your own terms with 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today and free yourself from traditional medicine. That's the number 4uhealth.com. Get ready for epic savings at Best Buy. Right now, you can save up to $700 on select Alienware and Dell gaming products. Perfect for leveling up your gaming experience. Plus, grab the latest Android Google Pixel at an unbeatable price. Don't miss these incredible deals. Shop now at bestbuy.com and upgrade your tech today. At Fullwell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. Our research-backed bioavailable formulas are crafted with your health in mind, ensuring the highest quality and safety. From preconception to pregnancy and beyond, we exceed industry standards with independent testing for harmful contaminants. With our comprehensive practitioner directory, personalized care is always within reach. Fullwell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at fullwellfertility.com. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. We put every machine through 6,000 rigorous tests to guarantee long-lasting performance. With cutting-edge technology and a commitment to energy efficiency, Gevi makes your life easier, greener, and more convenient. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more. That's gevi.com.
Have you ever watched true crime television and wondered, how did they get that story?
I can show you. I was a producer for 48 Hours on CBS News.
In my exclusive tell-all book, I'll take you where no audience has ever gone before. Don't miss out. Secure your copy of Killer Story: The Truth Behind True Crime Television today. Available everywhere books are sold.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. We use the finest materials like Italian top-grain leather, known for its durability and luxurious feel, and apply meticulous attention to detail in every piece we create. Our replicas are crafted with the same care and precision as the originals, but a price that makes them accessible. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. Using advanced tech fabrics that are 100% waterproof, UV tear, and abrasion resistant, we ensure lasting durability with hand-sewn double-stitch seams. Our commitment to quality, precision engineering, and customizable options is unmatched. With vertically integrated operations and express shipping, we deliver premier protection at affordable prices. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
We haven't been looking for you. Wake up.
Hellhound Country, available anywhere you get your podcasts. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
It is the Matt Mosley Show. And the reminder that we're taking the show on the road. We'll be out at Brazos Landing on Thursday, we're going to do a live show out there. I'm hoping to have, I don't know if Scotty has to be back at the mothership or he can get out on the road. I'd love for him to be out there with me right there on that river. In fact, he prepared for it by eating every fried thing on the menu. I don't know how the man maintains this, figure there. My goodness. His alligator bites and the catfish and the shrimp and everything he had going on the other day. And then that trio we had a nice trio of queso, that white blanc. As it gets a little thick and as it got into like the second half of that game, it was a long game between Baylor and Oklahoma State. I think it actually gets better. I like it. I like that queso to congeal a little bit, and then I'll get in there. And so Scotty is he's a man of all seasons, and then he'll step over. He's got some ties to a restaurant in town that they sell tapas and small bites and all kinds of stuff over there at the Red Herring, and they do some nice things. But boy, Thursday we're going to be focused on the Brazos Landing. That was a really nice crowd. They were coming in all day the other day, watching games, had a big party out on that back deck by the water. I don't know what that was, a shower or something. I started to go out there, but I don't think those women really were interested in me joining the party. But there were things, there were a lot of gifts and they were bringing in huge, I don't know what was going on out there. It was good. It was good to watch and good to kind of be out there at the Brazos Landing. Scotty and I need to sound off on what we witnessed the other day. I was just looking, Scotty, to refresh my memory on some of the numbers, and I won't do this. I don't know why every broadcaster feels like in a post-game show. This is not Baylor. This is like any show that this is what people want in a post-game, for the host to come on and literally read the entire stat sheet. By the way, this is like every post-game show I can think of. Okay, here's so-and-so with the stats, and just sit there for like 5 minutes and read all the stats. No, we want like opinions. We want thoughts. We want calls. We want folks weighing in. And feel free to do that, by the way, in the comment section on this YouTube show that we do. We got more announcements coming soon. I'm working behind the scenes to even give us more visibility than we already have, which is a lot of visibility. Scotty, here's the thing. I have a hard time. Like I'm not going to do too much complaining about the offense that got 612 yards, 8.3 yards per play, and 7 for 14 third down efficiency. It's okay. Could have been better against them. Controlled the clock for the most part. Didn't have to punt too much. It's that part of it's fine. And against Oklahoma State, you don't want to be out there kicking field goals and messing with that. You just keep scoring, keep doing your thing. Although I think we did see our man might have missed a 50-something yard field goal, who's been really good this year. It's I feel like I get all my Connors mixed up. Who is this? Is this Hawkins? Which because there used to be a Martin. There was a Connor Martin, but this is Hawkins. Anyway, the kicker is doing fine. I got no issue there. Scotty, the issue is that Oklahoma State came out and did exactly what you thought. The good thing Baylor did is went right down the field. I think that was Cole Wilson, Sawyer, big plays, part of this started some little argument that Scotty and I will not get brought into again today. I'm not going to spend any time on that. We were arguing about the greatest Baylor tight end. Trigg is an impossible cover right now. I think he's the greatest tight end to ever play at Baylor already. And then in the second half, on a have to need it play, he makes a play over on the sideline in traffic. It's just his ability to not only get open, but to high point the ball, to be physical, to score touchdowns. Scotty, we saw the return, and Baylor used to do this a little bit. They kind of got away from it, of the old jump touchdown pass. The Sawyer, I don't know why. Sawyer's barely run it any this year. I don't know why they were falling for that fake, but Sawyer was faking the run, and he'd pop up there and throw the little pass over. And they got one to Kloppenstein. They got one to Trigg. So I thought that was a nice little play. Running backs, you need to hold on to the ball. Knighton needs to hold on to the ball, but he's looking good. Speed's there. I'm liking that they're getting Michael Turner some reps. Bryson's incredible. I mean, you've got to keep him in one piece. But, Scotty, you know the one I'm talking about. There was one touchdown where, I mean, bruising. I think that was a 28-yard touchdown, and they had shots to bring him down. They couldn't do it. So, okay, that's the good. That's the good. Scotty, they went into Stillwater knowing that Oklahoma State was going to come out and throw a bunch of haymakers. They did exactly what they thought they would do, right? They got a quarterback who's not very good, and his pads are too tight for him, and it's just like it's a weird look that he has. Like, I don't know how he delivers passes with the pads fitting him like they do, but he did. And suddenly number 18, who's a former high school quarterback, the wide receiver, I mean, I don't know why I don't have his name committed to memory, because he'll haunt me the rest of my life. They go with the halfback passes. They go with the tailback passes. I mean, Sanford did the same thing to him, and Baylor couldn't cover that. They knew they were going to do that. And after the game, I'm hearing Dave say something along the lines of, well, do you play a base? Do you stay in the base there? Do you pressure them on those plays? It's freaking Oklahoma State. They're horrible. I mean, they got no shot. They got beat by Tulsa at home. It's not like a question of like, how do you defend? How do you defend Oklahoma State? So all those things, Scotty, that we were worried about, could the emotion, could the haymakers, it all came to fruition. And they were hanging around in that game. And they made a field goal. And the way that team ran off the field, it almost like it's like they'd won the game at halftime. Baylor had a 28-20 lead, and it felt like Baylor was losing. And their coach, Scotty, their interim coach, who fired his defensive coordinator, I don't blame him. Other put up over 600 yards. Fire anybody you want to fire. They fired Todd Grantham. I've known him for years because he used to actually coach for the Cowboys, and he coached for all these other SEC teams. Scotty, what was Meacham doing as he ran off the field? He's doing get it up, give these kids some love, and I don't blame him. I mean, most times, Scotty, you and I would clown on a coach who's losing 28-20 for whooping it up and being excited at halftime. This is the one time I will make an exception. I kind of understood it.
Yep.
He threw a bunch of haymakers at Baylor. Now, did they finally hold them down some in the second half? Yeah, but Meacham helped them. Meacham helped because the ball's near midfield. They're still moving the ball. Baylor has gotten that score at this point to 38-27. You're early in the fourth quarter. This game is not out of reach. And the guy on fourth and 6? Whatever it was, he's right by midfield, and he punts it back to Baylor. It was insane. And Baylor finally pulls away, and they get it to 45-27. So I really don't have any problem with Sawyer, the run game, Spavital. I mean, are there some things, Scotty, you and I could get a little ticky-tacky on with the offense? Sure. But to me, this is Dave Aranda. This is showing up again and letting an emotional team that really doesn't have any players. They at least brought some players to that game. I mean, I was feeling bad for them. Like their safeties and their cornerbacks look tiny. They really don't have players. They really poor old Gundy. I don't know what happened, but they ran out of players. They got their starting quarterback hurt. They're not good, and yet they were allowed to stay in that game for way too long. So I've gone back and forth, Scotty, on how much of it should we give them some grace on Oklahoma State coming out, kind of like TCU did in 2021. And I keep coming back to, no, I'm all about grace when it comes to the ministry, it comes to church. I love a good message of grace. But when it comes to my defense, when it comes to the Bears against a horribly depleted roster and a horrific team, that's not good enough. That's not good enough what they did the other day. I mean, that was kind of, they kind of came out and had an embarrassing performance. And if they don't get it right against K-State, think about this, Scotty. Like, even though K-State's not great this season, compared to Oklahoma State, that's like, I mean, that might as well be Oregon. right? We saw what happened when Oregon played Oklahoma State. It was 69-3. That is the difference between K-State, Oklahoma State, almost. Talent level, quarterbacking, everything K-State has. If you come out and you bring that level of response and energy, I don't get it. I would say, Scotty, there were some individual performances on defense. For instance, I like this Caleb Burns.
Caleb Burns, that's right.
I like that kid. I like Kyler Jordan. I think you and I are both like, oh, there's Kyler. Whatever happened to Kyler? Oh, number 40. There were some dudes that came to play. Jackie is going to be, he is Baylor's best defensive player. But, there's still way too much of just seeing these cornerbacks just chasing these safeties. So it wasn't good enough. And I don't know. I think you have to be a very Pollyanna Baylor fan to come out of that game thinking it's okay. 45-27 road games. It's tough. Like I heard on the broadcast, I get it. Like Nick Florence, they have to say things like this. They can't come out and rip the Baylor defense on a postgame show. But he was doing the whole thing where he was like, winning on the Big 12, winning on the road is hard. Winning in this conference is hard. Most of the time, that's true. Nick Florence never got to go. I'm trying to think of Kansas. They were probably horrible back then. I don't know if he ever saw a roster this bad.
He did not. Not in the Big 12.
You're right. Not in the Big 12. So again, he's got to toe the line and all that. So I'm not going to get into that. But John encountered a funny one though the other day. They had a really nice guest. And you know who it was? Was the younger Siraki brother.
Yeah.
Did you get to hear this or not?
I did.
They had Colton on. John kept doing that. Pretty good win for you guys. Pretty good performance. And Colton would go, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You got to ask that question. You gotta occasionally mix that question in. And John does not. John likes.
He loves those. Well, Colton, the offense was really clicking today, wasn't it? He loves doing interviews that way. It's so funny.
And see, Miranda's so nice. Miranda will go with that style. Dave, great road win today. Dave, pretty good performance for that offense. And Dave will go with it. The kids need a question.
Yeah.
Don't roll with the statement. But anyway, Scotty, I know some of the things you've been talking about on your podcast, and as the week unfolds, we'll get back into this opportunities Dave Aranda has. But I mean, overall, just not good enough. It wasn't a performance where you came away going, okay, I feel much better about that.
No.
Maybe you could say that on offense, but there's no way you looked at that defense and thought, okay, man, I feel great. I feel pretty good about this thing moving forward.
Here's the tweet that did it for me, and I saw this at halftime when Zach Smith put it out. Waco Trib Zone, Zach Smith put this out. Saw it while we were at Brazos Landing enjoying our time. At halftime, this is what Zach Smith of the Waco Trib pointed out. The Cowboys came into this game averaging 324 yards per game and 172 yards through the air, ranked 115 in the nation in both. They just had 349 total yards and 200 passing yards in the first half against the Bears. It's unacceptable, man. It's unacceptable. And the word that I think I would use for that game, especially in the first half, is undisciplined. Undisciplined. Getting beat on multiple halfback and wide receiver throwbacks and double passes is just poor discipline. Like Dave's trying to say, well, you just don't know. No, like if you're the deep safety on that play, you keep covering your portion of the field until the ball crosses the line of scrimmage. Like that's discipline, and they couldn't do it. It's the same reason they couldn't fit the A and the B gap against Auburn over and over and over. It's a lack of discipline on defense. And then we even saw I don't, like you said, I don't want to be too picky about the offense because they had a good day overall, but they had a ton of penalties across the offensive line in that game, a ton of them. False starts, holding, a pretty high number. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, 5 or 6, but and normally on a normal day in Stillwater, I would excuse a few false starts, but we both commented that stadium for the first time in my memory wasn't half full. The fans did not show out yesterday in Stillwater like I thought they would. And so no excuse for that. The fumble, I mean, like, I feel like if I had to pick one word to kind of encapsulate my frustration, Baylor's wins and losses, it's a lack of discipline. Whether that's huge penalties or turnovers or giving up a kick return for a touchdown in the first game of the season. It's hard to win even when your defense is the 108th defense in the nation, as Baylor's currently is. So much of that just comes down to assignment, discipline, football, and doing what you're coached to do. Because I know, dude, Matt, I know Dave Aranda is coaching these guys where to be. I know he is. But for whatever reason, it's not being executed.
You know how we always had that argument, like, about, is it the talent? Is it the coaching?
Yeah.
All of that. And
yeah.
I got really sick of it that one year. I think it was that year they went 3-9, and there were still like these weird comments. I do think we have Big 12 championship winning talent. Oh, okay, really? I don't think you should even say that, because you end up making yourself as a coach look really bad if you still hold to that. I don't know. I think it's right now because I do really like, and I've heard such great things like about this new cornerbacks coach, and he was with Gary Patterson for a long time, and talking about Paul Gonzalez. And so part of me has a hard time right now thinking, wow, well, maybe they're getting bad coaching or something, because they've got this guy that was on the national championship winning, who was hailed as like one of the smartest, greatest defensive gurus around. I would say the defense took a step up. They took a step forward versus Arizona State, because they kept getting put in bad situations and they held up. Now, they folded like a cheap tent at the end of the game, but they were really the biggest reason Baylor had a chance to get back in that game. So they showed, at least in that game, there's something to them. But it's just bad against a really bad team against Oklahoma State. Like I still have no confidence that they will tackle the quarterback. Tackling continue. I feel like everybody in my life, everybody I cover, are horrible tacklers. The Cowboys can't tackle. Their linebackers can't tackle. Baylor has, again, some decent individual performances, but as a whole, these are, I think, a lack of discipline is a good way to put it, Scotty. It's just they don't have players back there who seem to understand assignments, discipline. They're biting on things. They're not trusting their eyes, and something is not getting through to them. I couldn't help but like watch a couple things both in the Cowboys game last night and the Baylor game and go, okay, get this person off the field. Like I see this at the high school level sometimes, and it infuriates me. And I got some good friends that coach, and I try to be nice and not bring it up to them. But like the kid who gets you the celebration penalty or the late hit and does it over and over, and yet you never take him out of the game. This happens at the college and NFL level sometime. I will say, at least in Shoddy's defense, when Maris Leofau did that dumb play in a huge moment last night in the fourth quarter on a late hit, it got his rear off the field. They did that the other day with an offensive lineman too. Terrence Steele wasn't playing worth a rip. And they put Nate, whatever his name is, Nate Thomas, I think it is, the right tackle. I mean, the Cowboys were barely getting through that game, and they performed great on offense. And at one point, they were down 3 starters, 1 for poor play, 2 for injury. Baylor's got, I mean, like, I guess what I'm saying is, Scotty, we keep sort of telling ourselves, like, well, wait a second. They got all this talent. They're so great. They're so this. They're so that. Really? I mean, at some point, I think we have to accept, like, they don't really get to the quarterback. They don't sack people. Cowboys don't either, by the way. But it's like, who is responsible for the Baylor pass rush other than the guy lining up over center? Other than who's coming from the middle? Other than Jackie Marshall? Like, Cooper Lands came back in that game. We saw Kyler Jordan make a couple of plays. I mean, Caleb Burns is just getting his career started. Like, so we hear sometimes, they said this about Eberflus. Oh, we're going to scheme up a pass rush. Like, when Baylor was at its best with Petrie and Bernard, what were they doing? They were rushing those guys. Those guys would come. They would surprise teams. They had great timing. They would get to the quarterback. I think this team right now is so snake bit. They don't tackle. They don't contain the quarterback, and they don't get a pass rush. I mean, Scotty, I don't know if you've looked, and I know you can. Take a peek real quick, and let's just see, like, I would say after giving up another 400 and something yards, a lot of this was through the air. I mean, this Baylor team has to be ranked scoring defense from a yards per play standpoint, and then certainly against the run this year. They have to be one of the worst defenses in the country. And it's so unacceptable when that's what your head coach does. And I'll just say this. I was like a lot of people, you know, that was a tough loss to Arizona State. They came back, they did it, then Arizona State wins it at the gun. Arizona State then turns around and beats TCU. I thought Dave's post-game remarks sounded a lot like what we've heard for years. Let me just say a word about, without getting too specific. If you think, I think sometimes people think that this administration, now in some areas, they do put Dave Aranda in bubble wrap. And I think Mac, for the most part, stays out of that and lets the PR people, and I love their PR people. If it were up to them, Dave would do a lot more than he does. But they have allowed Dave to do anything he wants. Let me just say this, Scotty. After that Arizona State game, I believe that Mac, I'm just saying, if you think as a fan that the administration is not meeting your level of anger / apathy / frustration / disappointment, I think you would be wrong. I think you would be wrong. So that, to me, that says that the pressure on Dave has been turned up, Scotty, more than we understand, more than we realize. Is he going to get fired if they lose to Kansas State on Saturday? No, he's not. They're sitting here now at, Scotty, what, 3-2? Desperately needing to get this thing to 4-2. If they don't, if it's 3-3 and they get beat by K-State, no, he doesn't get fired. But the heat is higher than you think. And that made me feel better about things. And I don't even think Aranda minds it. I think for the most part, Aranda's going to function how Aranda's going to function. I think Aranda, and this is the good and bad thing about him. The good is he's the exact same guy, no matter how much the heat, no matter how much is happening from outside. The only thing he tries to help from the outside is to deflect and protect his players from some of it. He doesn't really hear it, nor care, nor function like the normal human. So if you ever think, oh my gosh, I'll say a bunch of stuff on a forum, or I'll sound off on something, or I'll leave something in the comments section and maybe Dave will hear it, he won't. He won't. So again, in some respects, those are admirable qualities to have in a head coach. The problem with Dave is his level of frustration and reaction to poor performances or losses will never match what his fan base thinks. And to the point where, Scotty, I sometimes hear from people, I'll ask a question or Smokey will ask a question after a game, and they'll be like, you are the only guys that question him on something or whatever. And again, the intent of one of those post-game news conferences is not for us to showboat or do anything grandstand. No, but it is to, on behalf of the fan base, our job as a conduit from people reading or listening to what we do is to try to get interesting answers. And the truth is, we got to be tougher on him. We got to be, that the other day, and I say that I wasn't there. I didn't go to Stillwater, so I can't be too tough on him when I'm not there to ask a question. But after the K-State game, let me vow to do one thing. If it's bad again, and if it's whatever, the tough questions will be asked. And by the way, head coaches, winning or losing head coaches, are more thin-skinned than ever. Mike Elko at A&M the other day, Scotty, I don't know if you saw that. Mike Elko got his feelings hurt because, he told the media what it should be asking. Do you know who is the main media at Texas A&M? They're called TexAgs. It's a fan site. It's a fan forum. They do a good job. They make a lot of money. They're good at it. I mean, I'm not putting them down. But think about that. Think about a real live SEC coach sitting there at 4-0, should be feeling great about things, is scolding the media for not asking about enough positive things. I've never seen so many thin-skinned coaches in college football. Brian Kelly, Elko, Dabo, they are so thin-skinned right now. At least Dave, here's the thing, Dave wouldn't care. I could stand up after one of those post-conference and go after Dave, and I think he'd just kind of smile at me and go, I wonder what Mosley's doing. I wonder what he's up to. He would not come back at me. But we do have a lot of thin-skinned coaches out there. And Mike Elko, he was doing that the other day. Give us credit. Mike, you got the best receiving duo. You got a great quarterback. You put 16 points on Auburn. You didn't move the ball. Your defense played great. But don't sit up there and beg for nice questions from the media. That's beneath you. Goodness gracious. All right, Scotty, we're almost at the end, but I want to give you an opportunity. Coming off that Baylor win, which I'm making sound like a loss, 45-27, and you said it earlier, and I think you said it well. The discipline, the lack of take the little punch from them, right? Let them have their little punch. Let them throw a couple of those halfback passes, but then bury them. There should not be a time in the game. It's still 38-27, and they didn't go for it, and they should have. They made that game 35-27 in the second half. That team right there, I'd rather face. I think UTSA would be tougher. I think Texas State would be tougher.
I know Texas State would be tougher. Yeah.
I think there are a lot of teams around that I would less rather face than that team. And yet the Bears went out there and flopped around too much. Am I being unfair?
No, I mean, I said it, Matt. There's a saying, and it's not just my friend group that says this. I don't know where this originated. Good teams win. Great teams cover. And I said in our Green and Gold pregame, and I believe I said on your show last week, I want Baylor to cover the spread. The spread was 20.5. I thought that was favorable. I was like, Baylor should be able to beat this team by 21. Yes. Baylor should. Baylor has the talent deficit to beat this team by 3 touchdowns. By the way, if Baylor scores, they end up in the red zone at the end of the game. If they score a touchdown right there, they cover, and I don't think I'd feel radically differently, to be fair. But yeah, I was not satisfied. And we already talked about the defense and the discipline things. I think all of your questions here are very valid. We got all week to get ready for Kansas State. You are not going to play a team that bad again this year. There's not going to be a roster with that depleted of talent the rest of the way. So I feel like we said this after the Samford game going into conference play. Time is running out to clean that crap up, man, because Kansas State is down this year. They're much better than Oklahoma State, but they're down for that program. You got to buy, and then TCU is going to be ready to beat you at home. That's a rivalry game, and they're pretty good. Arizona, Houston, Cincinnati are all on your schedule. We looked preseason and thought those would all be automatic W's based on last year's result. All of those are winning teams right now. Arizona just lost their first game. Houston is still undefeated. I think Baylor's better than those teams, but they're not pushovers like Oklahoma State is. UCF is your homecoming game. Dear God, I hope you can take care of that one. But none of these teams are as weak this season as Oklahoma State. And so I'm glad they took care of business. I'm glad the offense put up 600 yards. But yeah, there are still signs that there are some massive holes.
I don't think he survives 6-6 with half-empty stadiums. I don't think he can.
Well, here's
what's
so interesting, Matt. Here's what's so interesting. I would tend to agree with you if he didn't currently have put together arguably the best recruiting class Baylor's ever had. And I know that only means so much because you can get the best recruits in the world. And if you're winning 6 games a year, that's not good enough for most Baylor fans. It shouldn't be, by the way. But this recruiting class he's got right now is great, and a lot of them love him. And so I would really, I don't remember if it was on your show last week or Pete's show or my show. I'm getting all these shows mixed up now that I'm doing 4 a week. But I said to somebody, I said, 2 groups matter here. If Dave Aranda goes 6-6 or 7-5, there's 2 groups you ask: donors, who's going to give towards NIL. You talk to them first, and then you talk to all these 4-star Central Texas kids. You talk to Jamarian Vincent. You talk to Jamarian Carlton. You talk to Jordan Clay from San Antonio, who picked Baylor over Oklahoma. You talk to those kids, and you say, hey, and maybe I'm giving those kids too much power, but to me, that really matters. The talent acquisition really matters. And if Dave Aranda's pulling in better talent than anybody else did before, that says a lot. I
understand. I know we got to go, but God, that talent's probably not going to come to fruition for a couple of years. And he's already had that one time. It's like, oh my gosh, Caden Jenkins and all these defensive backs. And if he can just hold on to this class, and I'm sorry, but that class that he held on to, Scotty, is not, it's not showing up. It's not, that hasn't led to anything big other than a really good run last year. Scotty, great stuff today. I appreciate it. We had some tech stuff and we just solved it like we always do. And we just kept rolling. It's what you do on the Mosley Show. Thank you. Brazos Landing. We were there the other day. Just the Bang Bang Shrimp. Scotty tried he had every seafood in that place on his plate. We had a combo. We had a little sampler, a little trio sampler with some salsa and some queso and guacamole. That was great. And then those corn riblets were incredible. So appreciate it. It was so great that Scotty got to spend a little time around Claude and Becky Lindsay and Preacher. You're a good buddy who comes up there a lot and is a great longtime pastor in the area. Good guy. But Claude and Becky, 2 of my great friends, 2 of our great friends, and we'll be there on the road Thursday against K-State. getting ready for that K-State game. And, of course, the Green and Gold Game Day program, which will also be on KWTX and YouTube. All of it will happen starting at 8 a.m., Scotty? Whoa. All right. You sure you want to do that? Yeah. 8 a.m. on Saturday. For Scotty Swingler, I am Matt Mosley. Appreciate everybody who's been a part of this. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock.